Whispers had haunted Hollywood for decades. Rumors, secrets, and mysteries surrounded one of the greatest stars of all time, Paul Newman. Fans speculated, tabloids whispered, but no one dared confirm. Until now, at the age of 63, Paul Newman's daughter has finally stepped into the light to reveal the truth of revelation that will shock you, stir your emotions, and make you see Hollywood in a completely new way. Before we dive deeper into this astonishing story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the inside stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. Paul Newman was more than just a silver screen icon. With his piercing blue eyes, effortless charm, and unforgettable performances, he captivated millions. Yet behind the glitz, his life was a web of private struggles, personal secrets, and family mysteries. For years, whispers surrounded his relationships and private life, leaving fans and the media endlessly curious. And while the world celebrated his talent, few knew the personal truths hidden behind the headlines. For decades, whispers about Paul Newman's private life circulated quietly, yet persistently, creating a mysterious aura that no on-screen performance could ever fully dispel. While millions of fans admired his piercing blue eyes, effortless charm, and legendary performances, there was always another side to the story that the public could not see. Behind the bright lights, the glamorous premieres, and the applause of adoring crowds, Paul Newman lived a life shrouded in secrets, a life that invited endless speculation. Tabloids and gossip columns eagerly tried to piece together fragments of his private world. They speculated about secret romances that might have existed, wondering who had truly captured the heart of Hollywood's most charismatic man. They questioned family relationships, analyzing every rare photograph, every quiet glance, every subtle interaction, searching for evidence of hidden tensions or untold struggles. The rumors persisted not because people were cruel, but because Paul Newman's presence was larger than life. He was not just a movie star. It was an icon, a figure onto whom fans projected their fantasies, assumptions, and ideals. Every gesture he made, whether on screen or in public, was scrutinized. Every smile, every expression, and every moment of privacy became fuel for endless speculation. Even a simple appearance without his family sparked conversations. Who was he with? What were they hiding? Why was he seen alone? These small moments, magnified by the insatiable curiosity of the public and media, became the foundation of decades-long rumors. The stories never truly died because they were layered with emotion, imagination, and mystery. People were captivated by the idea that someone so perfect, so seemingly untouchable, could have a private life filled with drama, choices, and struggles unknown to the public. Rumors about secret romances suggested a hidden vulnerability, a human side that contrasted sharply with the polished image on screen. Speculations about family struggles hinted at heartbreak and conflict that fame could not erase. Every whisper seemed to suggest that behind the charm and confidence, Paul Newman navigated the same complexities that ordinary people face: love, loss, and loyalty. But the weight of these unconfirmed tales extended far beyond public curiosity. It affected the people closest to him, family members, friends, and colleagues who watched as speculation grew louder each year. They silently bore the burden of protecting privacy while the world debated endlessly. Torn between respecting boundaries and craving the truth, they understood that the rumors could never fully capture the depth of real human emotions, yet they could not stop them from spreading. Over time, these whispers became an inseparable part of Paul Newman's legacy, a shadow that followed him alongside fame, awards, and admiration. Ultimately, these enduring rumors reflected the powerful intersection of celebrity, imagination, and mystery. They persisted because Paul Newman was larger than life, because people wanted to believe that a legend could have secrets, and because the truth was patiently waiting to be revealed decades later through the courageous voice of his daughter. The rumors never truly died. They evolved, lingering in the public consciousness until they could finally be confronted, confirmed, and understood. They remind us that even the brightest stars carry shadows, and that behind every public figure, there are untold stories, private struggles, and human truths that the world may only glimpse after years of speculation. After decades of whispers, speculation, and unanswered questions, The world finally heard from someone who could confirm the truths that had long lingered in shadows. Paul Newman's daughter. For years, fans and tabloids had debated endlessly about the private life of the Hollywood icon. Rumors about secret romances, family struggles, and hidden choices filled newspapers, magazines, and conversations. Yet no one had ever confirmed their validity. The story of Paul Newman's life behind the camera remained incomplete, a puzzle missing its most important pieces. It was a life wrapped in enigma, full of admiration on one hand and curiosity on the other. Then, at the age of 63, his daughter courageously stepped forward, breaking decades of silence, and brought clarity to the mysteries that had haunted both the public and the family alike. Her decision to speak was not made lightly. Coming forward after so many years required immense courage and emotional strength. She understood that revealing private details about her father's life would invite scrutiny, attention, and potentially controversy. Yet she recognized the power of truth. Ability to transform decades of rumor into understanding, to replace speculation with honesty, and to give fans a chance to see Paul Newman not just as a legendary actor, but as a human being with real emotions, relationships, and vulnerabilities. By choosing to share her perspective, she offered a glimpse into a world that had been carefully protected for so long, a world that blended fame with intimate family life, public admiration with private struggle. The revelation did more than confirm, rumors it humanized Paul Newman in a way that no tabloid headline or gossip column ever could. For fans who had idolized him as the untouchable, charming movie star, the story added depth, showing him as a father, a man who experienced love, heartbreak, and family challenges. Just like anyone else, it reminded the world that behind the Hollywood glamour, even legends live ordinarily, complex lives. His triumphs on screen were now complemented by the story of his private life, revealing a man who could be strong and vulnerable, admired and flawed, public and private all at once. Her honesty also provided context to decades of speculation, giving meaning and clarity to stories that had otherwise existed as fragmented rumors. What had once seemed like isolated whispers became part of a larger, deeply human narrative. Through her words, fans could finally reconcile the mystery with reality, understanding that the choices, actions, and relationships they had speculated about were part of a real, complex human experience. In doing so, she bridged the gap between Hollywood legend and real life, connecting the public to the personal truth behind the iconic figure. Ultimately, her decision to speak reminded the world of the power of truth, courage, and perspective. It highlighted the fact that even the most celebrated, adored, and legendary individuals are not immune to the intricacies of human life. By stepping forward, she honored her father's memory while simultaneously illuminating the hidden realities that defined him. Her revelation was a moment of clarity, reflection, and emotional resonance, offering fans a rare, intimate insight into the life of Paul Newman, one that transformed decades of curiosity into understanding, and allowed the world to finally see the man behind the legend. When Paul Newman's daughter finally spoke, her words carried a weight that reached far beyond simple confirmation of long-standing rumors. For decades, fans, journalists, and Hollywood observers had speculated about the life of one of cinema's most beloved figures. Stories about hidden romances, family struggles, and private decisions had floated endlessly through tabloids, articles, and conversations, but nothing had ever been officially confirmed. Her confession was a moment of clarity that cut through years of speculation, and its emotional impact was immediate and profound. Those who had spent years wondering, questioning, and imagining were finally confronted with a real, tangible truth of truths, spoken by someone who had lived it and understood it intimately. For many, the revelation brought a sense of relief. Decades of unanswered questions and rumors could now be set aside, replaced by honesty and clarity. Fans could reconcile the image of the charming, untouchable movie star they admired with the reality of the man he was behind closed doors, a father, a human being with vulnerabilities, a person navigating the same complexities and challenges that everyone faces. The relief was not just about confirming facts. It was about the human connection that her words created, allowing audiences to finally empathize with the private struggles of someone they had admired from afar. Yet for others, the confession was heartbreakingly poignant. The stories she revealed reminded the world that fame and glamour do not shield anyone from life's challenges. Behind the red carpets, award shows, and cinematic accolades, Paul Newman experienced trials, disappointments, and personal hardships that were invisible to the public eye. Fans who had idolized him for his perfection on screen were confronted with the reality that even legends live with vulnerability, pain, and difficult choices. The revelation carried an emotional weight, illustrating that the man who had seemed larger than life also had moments of fragility, doubt, and struggle that shaped who he was as a person and as a father. Every word spoken by his daughter resonated with honesty, courage, and a quiet dignity. She did not seek to sensationalize the past or dramatize her father's life for attention. Instead, she offered truth carefully, thoughtfully, and with the understanding of its emotional significance. Her courage to speak after decades of silence reflected the strength it takes to share intimate family history with the world. Through her testimony, fans were invited to reflect on the complexities of human life, to consider the private stories that exist behind public personas, and to appreciate that the man they admired on screen was also a human being, navigating love, loss, responsibility, and family in a very real way. Ultimately, the emotional impact of a confession went far beyond simple curiosity or entertainment. It reminded the world that Hollywood is not just glitz and glamour. It is also filled with real people who make difficult choices, live with challenges, and carry secrets that may remain hidden for decades. The story humanized Paul Newman, honored his legacy, and allowed audiences to connect with the truth of his life in a deeply personal and emotional way. It left fans not only with answers, but also with a renewed sense of empathy, understanding, and admiration for both the man and the courageous voice of his daughter. As the story of Paul Newman's private life and his daughter's revelation begins to settle in the minds and hearts of fans, one undeniable truth emerges. The man behind the silver screen was as complex, layered, and multifaceted as the characters he so masterfully portrayed. For decades, audiences had celebrated his charm, his piercing blue eyes, his effortless charisma, and his unforgettable performances, often seeing him as larger than life, almost untouchable. Yet behind the accolades, the glamorous premieres, and the public admiration, there existed a human being navigating the same trials, choices, and vulnerabilities that touch every life. His daughter's courageous decision to speak at the age of 63 brought these private dimensions into the light, offering fans a rare glimpse into the personal world that had long remained hidden. In doing so, she not only honored the memory of her father but also added depth and meaning to his legacy, showing that even legends are shaped by love, struggle, and family in ways the public rarely sees. Her revelation reminds us that behind every celebrated figure lies a story filled with complexity, emotion, and human truth. Paul Newman's life was never simply defined by the roles he played or the awards he won. It was also defined by the relationships he nurtured, the challenges he faced quietly, and the values he upheld as a father, a friend, and a human being. The courage of his daughter to share the truth transforms decades of speculation into understanding, allowing the world to connect with him not only as an icon of cinema but as a real, vulnerable person. This is the kind of revelation that moves hearts, sparks reflection, and deepens appreciation for the lives of those we admire from afar. For viewers, this story is more than just an account of Hollywood secrets. It is a reminder that fame and public image are only one part of a person's life. Behind the glamour, behind the red carpets and flashing cameras, real people live, love, make difficult choices, and sometimes carry burdens that remain unseen. Paul Newman's daughter, by speaking out, bridges the gap between myth and reality, legend and human truth, giving audiences a chance to reflect on the balance between the person we see on screen and the life that exists beyond it. As we reflect on this revelation, one lesson becomes clear. Stories like these are rare, precious, and deeply human. They encourage empathy, understanding, and curiosity about the lives of iconic figures. They show that even those who seem larger than life face challenges, joys, and struggles just like anyone else. And they remind us that behind every public persona, there are untold stories, hidden truths, and moments of courage that may never have been shared if not for someone willing to speak honestly and openly. If this story moved you, If it gave you a new perspective on Paul Newman, or if it sparked your curiosity about the hidden lives of Hollywood legends, now is the time to take action. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, and turn on notifications so that you never miss another story that uncovers the private truths behind the icons we admire. Every legend has untold stories waiting to be discovered, and your journey into the hidden history of Hollywood is just beginning. By staying connected, you become part of a community that celebrates both the glamour and the humanity of the world. It's most fascinating figures, learning not just about their public triumphs, but about the personal journeys that made them who they truly were.